It's official. Daniel Ricciardo will be replaced by Liam Lawson at VCARB, effective immediately. Rumours of this began last week ahead of the Singapore Grand Prix, hence it did not surprise fans when it was announced. However, there is one aspect of Lawson's contract that many may not have noticed. This is a bigger deal than seen on paper. Initially, it was understood that Lawson will drive in VCARB not just for the remainder of the year, but also next year. However, he has signed with VCARB only for the remainder of the 2024 season, which is just 6 races. Last year, we saw Lawson prove that he deserves a full-time seat in Formula 1. He gave the team their best finish at the time during the 2023 Singapore Grand Prix. So this raises the question, why was Liam Lawson confirmed only for the next 6 races and not for next year? Red Bull believes that Liam Lawson will play an important part in the team's future. Eventually, Red Bull will want Lawson to drive for their senior team, hence they didn't want to commit Lawson to VCARB for the long term. Just earlier this year, Perez signed a multi-year deal to remain at Red Bull until the 2026 season at least. However, in modern Formula 1, contracts don't mean much if the performance is not there. In the past couple of years, Sergio Perez has been unable to keep up with his teammate in Red Bull, Max Verstappen. His performances this year have put the team into a very vulnerable spot where they are trailing in the Constructors' Championship by 41 points. In total, the team has scored 475 points, out of which only 144 were scored by Checo. Verstappen scored the other 331. Looking at this fact, it is clear that Red Bull could use a change in their driver lineup. So in the scenario in which Red Bull will need to replace Perez after this season, they will want Lawson to step up. This is probably why the team did not allow Lawson to commit to VCARB for the 2025 season. They need him ready in case they want to get rid of Checo after this year. Although Perez has a pre-existing contract with Red Bull, there will be performance clauses that demand benchmark performances from the driver over the course of the season. Perez has certainly not been able to keep up with those performances. After the Belgian Grand Prix this year, there was a lot of speculation that Perez would be sacked before the Dutch Grand Prix. To replace him would be Lawson. However, the Red Bull executives met in private and decided to retain Perez for the time being. After the British Grand Prix this year, Lawson took part in a Red Bull test in Silverstone where he got the chance to drive the RB20. Although much information was not released on this test, it is understood that Lawson's times were quite impressive. Earlier this year, Christian Horner confirmed that Liam Lawson would be on the 2025 grid, but he didn't say which team. After a conversation with Marko, however, Horner made sure to clarify the exact state of play for the 22-year-old. A drive, Horner interjected on Sky F1 when it was put to him that Lawson will have a seat on the grid next season. I asked Marko quite clearly. He said he'll have a drive in Formula 1 next year. We could rent him out. Nothing is fixed. If we don't take up the option on Liam, then he's a free driver for 2025. So we've got specific time periods within drivers' contracts where that becomes prevalent. Horner is aware that if they don't get Lawson in for the 2025 season, they risk losing him to one of their competitors such as Ferrari or Mercedes. So there are several factors that indicate that Lawson could head to Red Bull in 2025. But why Liam Lawson and why not Yuki Tsunoda? Since last year, Yuki Tsunoda has been performing very well. He has been consistently beating his teammates and looks to be a very promising driver. He even signed a contract extension to drive for VCARB next year as well. But why is Red Bull not promoting him? Yuki Tsunoda came into the Red Bull family because of his connections with Honda, Red Bull's power unit supplier. However, the relationship between Red Bull and Honda is set to come to an end after the 2025 season. Starting in the 2026 season, Honda will supply Aston Martin with its power units. Considering that Aston Martin is Red Bull's rival, there is a chance that Honda will bring Tsunoda to that team as well. Liam Lawson, on the other hand, was handpicked by Christian Horner to be a part of the Red Bull Academy. For this reason, Red Bull would prefer Lawson. The pressure is on Lawson for the next 6 races to prove himself. If he does what is expected of him, he could find himself racing in Red Bull Racing next year. Where do you think Liam Lawson will find himself next year? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.